Here are 5 practice tips and guidelines to help you get the most out of your scale practice so you can play the piano and all your favorite pieces with ease. This is a basic tip, yet often way overlooked. One of the reasons we practice scales is to give us a solid foundation in proper technique and alignment so that we can make beautiful music. If we practice scales with poor posture and alignment, we're spending all of our valuable time learning bad habits. If there's any time in your practice when you're strict about how you're sitting at the piano and positioned, scale practice is that time. Let's go through it by finding our neutral position or our starting point at the piano. Sit down and align your knees right underneath the front of the piano, feet flat on the ground. Sit up straight, shoulders relaxed, and then tilt slightly forward. Place your hands on the keys. Ideally, your forearms should be about level with the top of the keys. Now, we're all different heights and sizes, and that's why I love adjustable piano benches. I'll link the one that I bought off Amazon, which I love, in the description. Then, look at your elbows. They shouldn't be straight or create a sharp angle. If they do, it means you're sitting too far away or too close. Aim for an angle a little larger than 90 degrees. Lastly, check your hand position shape. When we want to be really agile at the keys, the best shape starts out almost like you're making shadow puppets. When you place your fingers on the keys, the knuckles are the highest point and there's a lot of space underneath the palm. In this position, your wrists won't be exactly level with the forearm, but rather just a bit higher. Like I said, this is the starting point, a neutral position that you keep coming back to. Now, you don't stay frozen in this position the entire time. When you play the scales, the wrist, elbow, and arm move up and down, side to side in a flexible manner. This posture sets you up to stay relaxed while you practice scales, which means you'll be able to create the best tone and have the most control. Beginners often play a key by pressing straight down. And it's no wonder. The language that teachers use, including myself, is press the key down. But that's not really what we're aiming for, especially when we're playing fast-moving notes. We're combining a down and in motion to play a key. So it feels almost like you're pulling your finger in towards you as you play. Now, importantly, there's no actual movement of the fingers sliding on the keys. You'll use just enough pressure so that when you play and pull, feel that feeling of pulling towards you, your finger won't actually move. So let's try this out by first exaggerating the pull and actually letting our finger slide towards us. Play a C 5-finger scale going up, and on each note, pull your finger in. Now, feel that same slight pull, but this time, you're not going to let your fingertip actually move on that key. Our hands and fingers are really good at holding onto things and grabbing things. We don't really use this straight up and down motion for much, but this is how we grab a cup of coffee, pull up a zipper, or do our hair. I often see students play scales like this. As the observer, you probably noticed that I wasn't thinking ahead at all and so wasn't prepared for any of the finger crossings, and that creates a kind of a jerky movement. This is like driving a car, knowing and seeing a speed bump maybe 30 feet away, but rather than gradually slowing down the car, it's like waiting to slam on the brakes just 1 foot away from the actual speed bump. So rather than waiting until the last second to cross the thumb under, prepare for it as soon as you can. This is especially true when the thumb is crossing under the palm. Now, when is the third finger crossing over, You still prepare, but it's more subtle. Watch how I begin to pivot my hand. So right after I play my thumb, I'm already in my mind preparing for the first cross. So thumb. Okay, now I know it's coming up. I see it. It was inching this way to slide underneath, and the rest of my wrist and palm and arm and elbow was cooperating and making space for it. See? Pivot back so that I'm in the new position. So a little faster. The third finger, when it crosses over, can't start preparing until after it's played. So 5, 4, 3, okay, 2. Now, I can't prepare because that's awkward, right? It has to cross over the thumb. But what I can do is begin to get ready to pivot on my second finger. So my elbow, just the teeniest bit, is coming out. I'm starting to pivot this way. So now I'm already a quarter of the way there by the time I play my thumb, and I just have to pivot on the thumb to get that third finger over. Getting ready. No matter what you're playing, whether it's scales, Hanon, or Chopin, always have a musical intention. How will you shape the scale? What's the mood? This is part of the reason scales are so essential. We're training ourselves how to take what we're hearing in our head and transferring it to the piano. For example, right now I'm imagining fairy dust. And now I'm picturing a solemn processional. And could I create waves? Or what about a tiny cartoon character hopping over hot stones? Combine the technical elements with musical elements like articulation, dynamics, and tempo. Then we can get away from having it be all about speed. You're never done practicing scales, just like a pro runner never can run enough to say that they never have to run again if they want to maintain their good running skills. Even though scales are a lifelong endeavor, it doesn't mean that you'll always be bound to practice, hours of scales a day. For me, scale practice goes in cycles. Sometimes I really focus on them every day, and sometimes I simply play just one easy major scale as a warm-up. If you don't know or can't play all of your major scales yet, and you consider yourself, like maybe a late beginner, maybe you've been playing for 2 years or so, it's a really great idea to put your focus on scales until you can at least play through all of them for 1 or 2 octaves. But after that, there's flexibility. So I hope those 5 tips give you insight into your scale practice and technique, and I'll see you next time.